Maybe I'll play some PVE. I'll probably win. But I'm getting more, getting more commander experience and more credits as well. Alright, I'll try a match of PvP. Probably gonna be a 1v1. This is when it gets intense. So of course my weapon of choice is the Chieftain. Mark II over here. PvP. This is the midnight hour, so there's, I'm lucky to get a 2v2. And then the rest are bots.
And they prayed, but their prayers were too late.
So I'm gonna try to stat pad my win rate over here. And I'm gonna play in the Chieftain Mark II. Level 5 crew, almost level 6. 92,000 till level 6 crew max level.
Had passed off as mortal men too, and the souls that had put off salvation, not tonight. I'll get saved by.
This is one of my favorite tanks, man. It's level 3.
No time now to think of renewing, but at last they'd found time to die. And oh, what weeping and wailing as the lost were told of their fate. They cried for the rocks and the mountains. Then they prayed, but their prayers were too late.
Thank you, Hank. I'm glad we had time this morning to hear that song because we never did get a chance to sing it.
I gotta put this damn game back in the video. That way I don't gotta alt tab every single time I go to a different monitor. Alright. Let's see. Oh yeah. Atomic Nightmare. This is the Hoyok song. Son of a bitch. Oh man. Alright, good enough. Good enough. I want my face to be nice and fat.
They're building an atom bomb, gonna blow me out of this place. They're building a bigger bomb, what a crazy human race. Let 'em kill us all and we'll stand and watch. Well, brother, that ain't for me. I'll be running and a jumping and a skipping and a bumping when they blow me to smithereens. Now, I'm not a man that's scared of things, least things I knows about. But when my tater patch left the ground, I started right then getting out. I figured it was time for all good men to rise up and really shine. And I'll bet you anybody that saw me leave gonna say I sure did mine. They're building an atom bomb, gonna really cook our goose. They're building a bigger bomb, gonna turn the little loose. I'll never be down to this world alive, but brother, I can play so time. I'll be running and a jumping and a skipping and a bumping when the first big smoke goes by. Now, fellas, I fought in World War I, and that was quite a brawl. And old number 2, that is really bad, 'cause that we all recall. I'm a wishing for a way to the moon soon, before this next one starts. I want to get up there all in one piece, and not just part by part. They're building an atom bomb, blow me out this place. They're building a bigger bomb, what a crazy human race. Let 'em kill us all, and we'll stand and watch, but brother, that ain't for me. I'll be running and a jumping and a skipping and a bumping when they blow me to smithereens. Now the place for me is up in them hills in a cave way back in the rocks. When that thing goes off, I'll get the jar, but none of the real bad shocks. With a trusty gun and a can of beans and an old hound dog or two. If there's anybody left, it's gonna be me when all of this mess is through. They're building an atom bomb, gonna really cook our goose. They're building a bigger bomb, gonna turn the littlest loose. I'll never get out of this world alive, but brother, I can claim no pride. I'll be running and a jumping and a skipping and a bumping when the first big smoke goes by. Now you think I'm lying, but it ain't no joke, 'cause I used to live real close. A flash of light made a day of a night, and it scared me out of my clothes. My old hound dog went raving mad, was deaf for a week or two. When we quit running, he was certain or dead, but we figured that's the thing to do. They're building an atom bomb, gonna blow me out of this place. They're building a bigger bomb, what a crazy human race. Let 'em kill us all, and we'll stand and watch. Well, brother, that ain't for me. I'll be running and a jumping and a skipping and a bumping when they blow me to smithereens. Yeah. No. Did you ever hear such a noise?
Alright, that was a warm-up match. Plus, I missed the food too. I missed the food. Alright. What can I play? Maybe I'll just play documentary. I don't know. And, well, for that, I'm gonna do this one over here. I'll leave myself kind of big, but not too big. No, I'm having this problem. I can have it all. Okay. Can I? Perfect. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Oh, we're gonna have a great night tonight. Oh yeah, it's 11:40 East Coast time. Oh, you wanna rumble? You wanna drive like a maniac? I tell ya. But, well, whatever. Damn it. And then what was I gonna do? Okay, hold on. I didn't even finish what I was doing. Now you can't see YouTube. So it's all about layer. It's all about layer. There's a bunch of layers you gotta play with. You gotta play with the layers. I could throw on a movie. I could throw on. You know. I tell you, if I threw on, I'll throw on a documentary, and I'm gonna throw it on nice and fat. That way you can watch the documentary over my career being played. Tanks, guns, Russians, Americans, guns, cannons, engines, man things. Advertisement free. How do I get away with that? Because I know a
Development
thing.
of Leopard 1 started in
Because I kind of know a thing or two about a thing or two.
1956, with the vehicle entering service in 1965. This proved to be a bit of a change in German tank design philosophy when compared to the previous entries, such as Panther and King Tiger. They had a heavy emphasis on armor protection as well as the gun. Well, when they came up with the Leopard, they decided that there wasn't really much point in trying to create enough armor to defend against whatever was coming at them. theory was that no matter what was being fired, it would go through. As a result, the requirements for armor protection were very light. What was more important was mobility, and the gun would be nice. So what they came up with, they developed a system using the British L7 105mm cannon, excellent gun. They mated it with an MTU 37.4 litre diesel, put that onto torsion bar suspension, and basically turned that into their tank. Initial version of Leopard 1 started off with a simple cast turret on the welded hull. Crew of 4, driver at the front right of the hull, to his left would be stowed ammunition. Behind him in the crew compartment you're going to have a standard commander and gunner on the right and loader on the left. There are 55 rounds of 105mm ammunition stowed on the vehicle, 13 ready, and the other 42 were scattered around. The fire control system was relatively simple. It did have a coincidence rangefinder, those are the two little blisters on each side of the turret, and the sight was semi-stabilized. You couldn't really shoot on the move, but it was good enough, kind of like a gyro stabilizer almost in the American tanks in World War II, to keep the target in the sight so that on a short halt you had a very, very fast engagement time. Driver's compartment controls are fairly simple. To his front he has basically a steering wheel, two pedals for the brake and the accelerator, and there is a semi-automatic gearbox at the handle for which is located on the front right. Also behind him on the floor is located the escape hatch. If the turret is turned the correct way around, all 4 crew members can escape through the belly of the vehicle. The suspension is torsion bar, common to many tanks of the era. The engine in the back is a complete power pack system, with the drive sprocket also being at the rear. Leopard 1's signifying feature are the large radiator grills on the flanks. On the front of the vehicle you'll see a whole lot of little X tiles. And this is a clever little thing. It's snow grounders. For something with rubber tracks like, let's say, the M60, what you'd have to do is turn a center guide inside out, and you would use that as a sort of a snow tread. It worked fine in snow, but as soon as you went on something solid, you were basically destroyed in the road and your center guides. What you could do with this Leopard track, though, and you'll also see it in some other German vehicles, is you could remove the individual track pads, maybe one every 10th link, and replace it with this X tile. This gave you snow traction that didn't destroy the roads or anything else. Very clever idea. We only implemented this idea on Abrams when we finally introduced our own separate pad tracks. The cleats do exist. I've personally never seen one, but they aren't many. Left-hand side of the turret, you're going to see a little pistol port. This is also used primarily, really, for easy loading of ammunition. So you don't have to load the round all the way up through the back deck into the turret roof, down through the hatch. You can simply pass it through the side, and the loader can easily access and stow it. Neat feature about most German tanks and APCs is that they're basically street legal. You have wing mirrors, you have turn signals, and a lot of times you have license plates. The vehicle behind is technically a Leopard 1A1A2. Now you start off with your basic Leopard 1. Next thing you do is you add additional armor. So this has, you can see on the turret front and on the mantlet, an extra layer of armor to defend against more recent ammunition type. They are mounted on rubber blocks, giving a spaced effect as well. You can see those further back on the turret. The next upgrade to make it a 1A1A2 was upon the introduction in service of Leopard 2 with the thermal imager. Earlier Leopard 2s, which had a low-light television system installed, they had the camera for that removed, and it is mounted on the front right of the turret on the mantlet in the little cage. So the camera has been removed from this particular vehicle, but the cage indicates where it would have been. And this was a passive image intensifier system. Not a thermal imager, not as good, but definitely a vast improvement over the active infrared system that had been used previously. Inside the tank, loader has a fair bit of room on the left-hand side to service the 105 cannon. There is a coaxial MG3 7.62mm machine gun as well. Some users changed that out to an FN mag, American service the M240. Commander also had an MG3 of his own up by the cupola. On the commander's side, at his feet is the gunner, well equipped with all the controls you would expect for both powered or manual engagements. He has both the primary sight through the periscope and a direct vision sight through the mount. The gun tubes are equipped with a thermal sleeve, and what this does is it equalizes the temperature of the gun tube so that as it heats up or cools down, it expands or contracts at an equal rate. Otherwise, for example, let's say you had a nice hot sunny day, you fire a few rounds, the gun tube expands, then it starts to drizzle. It rains on top of the gun tube. This will cool the metal on the top of the gun. The metal will contract. This will then warp the gun to aim upwards. As a result, the thermal shroud will stop this from happening. Plus, in a lot of guns, you will also find a muzzle bore sight device, and this gives you a point of reference to use to make sure that your gun is actually pointing where you think it is. The commander is equipped with his own little independent periscope. It is unstabilized, but does allow him to perform something of a hunter-killer role. A hunter-killer system is where the commander identifies the target through his own optic and is able to slew the gunner onto the target directly. In addition to his periscope, he is equipped with a number of individual periscopes around his own cupola, and of course he has his own commander's control handle.
Hold on.
In a nice nod to creature comfort, the side skirts, which are actually more of a flexible rubber than they are metal, they're really more designed to keep the dust down than they are to provide ballistic protection. But the side skirts have little footholds cut in them, so it makes getting on and off this tank very simple. The track itself is the dual pin type, basically a deal system. It's been used by the Germans pretty much since Leopard 1 came about, and still that basic design is in service today. Of course, there are multiple versions of the Leopard 1, and it's not the only one here. So the next thing we're going to do is going to have a look at an A4. Leopard 1 was built in batches. Of the 5th batch built for the German Army, 110 came out with a new turret design. This was a welded boxy structure as opposed to the original cast. Now, the advantage of this was it had more internal volume, and you didn't sacrifice really any protection. The A3 was this variant. The A4 followed subsequently thereafter. The external visual distinguisher is going to be the commander's periscope. On the A3, it's a very simple little tubular thing. On the A4, it's a fully stabilized panoramic periscope. The vehicle behind me is an A4. Now, it is still fundamentally the same tank. We still have the same 870 horsepower engine. You still have the same coincidence rangefinder system. You still have the same 105mm cannon, the British L7. However, the A4 did add a fully stabilized integrated fire control system, as opposed to the more semi-stabilized system on the earlier tanks. However, we also retained the same searchlight box housing on top of the gun mantlet, which was infrared or white light selectable. The increased fire control capability did come at a cost. The computers took up a lot more room inside the tank than was earlier the case. So even though we now have the increased volume of the welded turret, the interior space available to the crew is actually fairly similar, if not slightly worse, than that on the cast turret vehicles. The last Leopard 1s were built for the German Army in 1979, although they reopened the production line again in 1981 for the Greeks. The vehicle saw widespread service. If you weren't building and designing your own tanks, such as the British or the French, and if you weren't getting free tanks from the Americans through foreign military aid, and you had to pay money to buy a tank, the chances are that you bought a Leopard. So widely exported, it was known often as the Euro tank. The vehicle was subjected to a whole bunch of upgrade programs and is still in service today in a number of countries.
Alright, the video should play a little bit clearer. So, I'm just gonna put it on a long ass documentary and nothing short like 10 minutes. I don't think so. I'm gonna put it on. The Mighty Jingles. No, who the hell is he? No. He's a British guy that does videos. He's an old British guy. Yeah. Alright, I could put it on the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes, the German stuff. Oh man. Or I could put it on disco. Disco sounds pretty good. Alright. Kto wykaże się jak ja? Yeah, I'll go up to the second area window. Why not? See who's faster, Object 287 or Leopard 185. Oh, he got it instead, I think. You know what? I should have had my camera. Dead gunner over there. Big reticle. Alright, sweet but crazy. I don't even gotta look at this. This one's got nice English subtitles. And if you read the subtitles, obviously it's a love song. Getting crew experience. That's the only reason why I'm playing this thing. A little bit of credits, a little bit of commander experience, but I'm mostly thinking about the crew experience on this one. Level 5 crew, level 6 is the max in this game at the moment. It used to be only level 5, but they bumped it to level 6. Double the experience. So this thing it's on its way over there. All right. See this guy's got any battles in there? Yeah, I'll add this guy. This guy's got a mental amount of battles. If you would join, that would be great. 2,800 career experience, not much, but nice little double there. And oh man, this big guy over there. I'll play back to tier 10 now because raiding party probably isn't now. Tier 10 Abrams. Let's see. Tier 10 Leopard. I want to play the Leopard instead. Tier 10 Leopard, I don't got a double. I haven't done today. Alright, this one's Obietsi, man, OB, it's, ooh yeah, shit, OBS, every, OBS, ooh yeah, shit. OBS, okay, I really can't do it. I can't say it that fast away. It would take me another 1 more minute of staring at it. Obietsuye che. Obietsuye che. Alright, finally I got it. A guy sent this to me on Twitch back in 2023. Volce Ochebia. That one's pretty easy to pronounce. Volce Ochebia. Plus, I'm sure they say it. Alright, now Regia She Bayoyemi. Then to make another drink over here. I think I'm gonna have enough alcohol to suddenly turn a couple of times. What time is it? Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure I will, unless I start to pick it up even harder. Which I ain't really going that hard right now. But if there's a will, there's a way. But I tell you what. Yeah, if I keep on going at this pace, that'll be good. To die. Chantel, it says. Alright, Badz Moya Krolova. Or it could be Badge. Alright, Nove officialne Teledins. Alright. That was an hour, so I'm gonna cut it over here. Another, probably like the third or fourth PVE video in a row. Alright, take care, bye.